So that was all the way through verse 29 in Ezekiel. Now let's read what verse 30 says, because at that point God's talking about Israel and he's talking about a defiled land. Now let's read what it says starting in verse 30. I looked for someone among them who would build up a wall and stand before me in the Gath on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it. But I found no one. Oh, wait a minute. What does that say again? I'm looking for someone who would build up the wall. Wait a minute. Does that sound familiar? And stand before me in the gap. See? On behalf of the land, that I would not destroy it. And this candidate is definitely willing to stand up in the gap, because he may be a billionaire and he earned his money in the private sector. He's not taking a salary when it comes to this job here. He's not taking a salary, so he's doing nothing but standing in the gap, for the nation. And yes, that's his whole thing. Build a wall. Build a wall. That's what he says. And so that's what God said in that verse, is I'm looking for someone to build the wall. But I can't find it. He couldn't find anybody. Well, looks like we found our guy for America. Can we not make the same mistake that Israel made back in those days and not let us be destroyed because we couldn't find a guy? If we have the guy to build that wall, why would we not take advantage of it? And it's also, I believe it's absolutely not a coincidence at all that his name is Trump. Because look at one verse I want to share with you. Another verse I want to share with you is 1 Corinthians 15, verses 51 to 52. Let's see what it says. Listen, I tell you a mystery. We will not all sleep, but we will all be changed in a flash, in the twinkling of the eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, the dead will be raised, the imperishable, and we will be changed. Think about that. The last trumpet. Trumpet. When he announced that he was running for president, everything changed. Everything. This was supposed to be Hillary versus Jeb Bush. The primaries was just going to be pretty much a ceremony, an anointing, and then we all know it was going to be Hillary that was going to win, but he came in and he just changed the game. And he went through 16 very qualified people very, very quick. And then now, look at him now. Now they thought, Hillary was unbeatable, but he's tied. And I believe he is going to win, because I believe God's hand is on him. I believe God's hand is on this, And also, one last part of the Bible I want to share is, I'm not going to read anything, I'm just going to tell you about Isaiah 45. Isaiah 45, and understand that the number 45 is significant, because the next president is number 45. And what happened in Isaiah 45 was when God anointed Cyrus to restore Israel. Now let's think about Cyrus for a second. He was a man who was very arrogant. He was really full of himself, very narcissistic. His mouth got him in trouble all the time. He was very cocky and boastful. And he was not a prototypical man of God. In fact, he wasn't even, at the time it was the Jews, because this was before the time of Jesus, but he was not a Jew at all. He was really outside the kingdom. But he was a great leader. He was an exceptional leader. He was able to get people to follow him. And he had a determination that no one else had. And why would God choose him as the one to anoint, or the one to restore Israel? I don't know. I can't ask God that question. But perhaps it's because God saw that even though he wasn't of the kingdom, he's probably the only one that can do what he needed to be done. And doesn't this guy sound an awful lot like Trump? Cyrus. And what's really fascinating about this story, too, is that Cyrus, after he was anointed by God to be the guy to restore, he gave his people a very specific command. And that command was, build a wall. Build a wall. So, you take what you do, you take what you want with this word. You take what you want with it. You know, the fact of the matter is, we got two candidates here. One speaks for globalization, which is what it says in the book of Revelations, that will bring the Antichrist. And I don't know, that's going to happen eventually. That is going to happen eventually. We all got to be prepared for it. We all understand that. But I would like there to be one more harvest before the end times. And so, what I believe is, yes, I believe God's hand is on a certain candidate that wants to make America great again. I believe God's hand is absolutely on that. But I also believe that God gave us free will. And we have to choose. Are we going to choose prosperity, or are we going to choose judgment? See, this election isn't about politics. It isn't even about Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. It really isn't. It's about a harvest or a judgment. Trump and Clinton are just pawns. And I'm choosing to harvest. Okay? I just am. I'm choosing to harvest. Because I do believe that harvest is through the man that God has anointed, and his name is Trump. Because, one last thing I want to say about Trump. Yeah, he's brash, and Jesus was brash. I'm certainly not comparing Trump to Jesus. There's no comparison. But Jesus was very brash, too. And a lot of people thought Jesus was evil at first. They really did. But one thing that I find fascinating, that I didn't really think much of it when I first time I heard it, Trump says this very frequently, and he especially did it in the primaries, as he said, the country's going to hell. Now, I don't think Trump means anything biblical by that. I really don't. I think he's just, being, he's just being Trump when he says that. But God put those words in his mouth. So when he said the country's going to hell, well, it kind of is. We call sin progress. Sin is not progress. And so, although Trump doesn't mean it that way, I think, God still used him to put those words in his mouth. So I think, let's really do what you want with what this says. But I'm telling you, I think God's God's hand is on this. And like I said before, there's only one truth, and that truth is through Jesus. And so, when you make your choice for who you vote for, in anyone, in anything, not just president, don't even look for the elephant or the donkey. Jesus was neither. Jesus was a lamb. Look for what path lines up with the one truth. And the one truth is Jesus. And the fact of the matter is, globalization does not line up with Jesus. It just simply doesn't. Building a wall? Yeah. That's been part of the Bible. We have saying that we've needed people to create borders, to protect our people of God. So, you do what you want with this. Like I said, I'm just an internet minister. You do what you want with it. But I'm choosing for a harvest. I'm voting for a harvest. You can vote. You vote however you like. And, but I'm voting for the harvest. Simple as that.